What's your view on this? Because there were some amendments made. Is this something Facebook was able to extract that is significant, or has the company had to back down after such a big backlash?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I think they managed to get a few concessions from the government at the last minute that clearly satisfied Mark Zuckerberg. And at the same time, I think there was probably a hastiness to get it done on their side as well, because some of the negative reaction was, I would think, was a little greater than they anticipated. So I think a bit of a back down maybe on both sides, and that's how negotiations go.
So one of the aspects here is the government may not apply the code to Facebook if the company can demonstrate it has signed enough deals with media outlets to pay them for content. What do you construe this as meaning exactly? Who might miss out under that wording?
Well, it's hard to say how it's going to play out, right? We're still in the middle of the game, right? We don't know how it's going to end. But clearly, probably the big winners here, at least in the short term, are the big media companies in Australia, the Murdochs, the Nines, the Sevens, because they're striking deals that they think are good with both Google and Facebook. And they've been working on those deals and looking for that kind of river of gold for some time now. So, clearly they're winners now because the government has kind of pushed Facebook and Google to the table to get these deals done. I think probably possibly the losers, and this has been playing out for a while, is smaller media companies. Where do they fit in this ecosystem? Even single, solo journalists, where do they sit in this ecosystem? Are they going to get a seat at the table? Are they going to be kept alive by this? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, there's this collective bargaining they can do, so there's a possibility at least. What about the dramatic pull of all these websites, including, ones that were helping out for people on mental health, weather updates and so on? Should we believe Facebook that this was an inadvertent error, this big, all-powerful company that's meant to be the king of the algorithm?
Well, look, the way I see it, it's bad either way. So whether it was accidental, that's a bad thing because it shows that Facebook is careless and willing to kind of sweep up anything in the net that, as long as it gets its way. If it was intentional, that's probably even worse because it shows Facebook really didn't care and was happy to see collateral damage along the way. So I think that was a really bad look for Facebook. Whether the algorithm went wrong or was somebody not looking at things closely enough, it doesn't really matter. It was definitely a bad look, and I'm hopeful all that gets addressed as quickly as possible, and I think a lot of it has been addressed. But we shouldn't forget that Facebook did this, right? There was no law of the land that forced Facebook to do this. It was simply being discussed. So Facebook did this preemptively, and it was something designed to pressure and undermine the government. And in that sense, it's something to be concerned of for governments all over the world.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Not even a law yet. Just finally and briefly, a lot has been spoken about, with media going online, the money hasn't followed media, but tech companies instead. How much does this restore that balance? It
restores some of the balance, but to be honest with you, I think we're going to be back here in short order where media companies are going to be saying they don't get enough money. I think their business models still need to undergo some change. They have to evolve in their cost base and how they source content, how they produce it. So I think there's going to be more pain for them. This doesn't replace the rivers of gold that they used to get from classified advertising, which has gone away forever. So I don't think this is going to be the panacea that saves big media, but I think we're headed down the right road here. And I think the right road is finding mechanisms whereby big tech can contribute to maintaining a journalistic and vibrant ecosystem in Australia, because we need that for democracy. Now, whether this regulation is the right mechanism or there needs to be some other mechanism, it remains to be seen, but at least we're taking the first step. Yeah, all right, so the first step, perhaps this is the battle, not quite the war. Stephen Scheeler, thanks for your time. My pleasure.